Welcome into the roundtable. I'm Brad Wakai. That is Tyson Gentry. It is Super Bowl week, baby. Super Bowl week. Big time stuff for us, too, Tyson. Our birds are playing. It was nice to have the week off a little bit, but now I'm starting to get nervous. How are you feeling?
Give me a temperature check. Where are you at versus where you were before the 49ers game?
Well, I'm way more nervous for this game. I was super confident with that Niners game. I think
I
mainly
was
because
more
we were in
nervous for
Philly.
that one, and that's what makes me scared. Like
I'm
it
nervous
hasn't
for
quite
this
hit
one.
me yet. Once the full media week stuff gets underway, then it'll fully get here. But it that week off, man, it messed me up.
Yeah, that's true because it's always nice especially in football. It's like, all right, you kind of have your ramp up period after the game, decompress. We do the show, get ready as we kind of build for the weekend, and then we got that week off. It's like, all right, well, college basketball's on all weekend, so
I
I'm
know
getting ready
there
for
was some
that.
good
We did
college
our
basketball
pods.
too. Everyone got to watch Caitlin Clark play. She was
Oh,
on ESPN by herself.
she's a stud.
It's kind of unreal. It's pretty crazy.
It's gonna be awesome seeing her in the WNBA too. She's just gonna be putting up crazy numbers, but. Back to football week, Tyson, and we're going to do a temperature check because we're going to have another one coming out Thursday where we give out our game picks and everything. So I'm sure by that point we'll be a little bit more nervous. But right now we're easing back in, Tyson. We're just easing our way in, and we're looking at the Super Bowl specials, scoring prop specials, and game props on this episode here. And as everybody's who's aware, who gambles, the Super Bowl is like the mecca for all these crazy, crazy props that the book's going to offer you. So if you're interested and you want to have fun, that's fine. Like, play some crazy stuff. Just know it's not going to hit very often. And I just say that as a disclaimer because if you're looking to maximize your profits on Super Bowl Sunday, a lot of what the book offers, like the fun ones, they're never going to hit, and they nuked the shit out of those odds. Like Jason Kelsey and Travis Kelsey to score a touchdown should be a 6-digit number, and it's like
Yeah.
plus 5,000.
Did you see that the books? I can't remember which one, but somebody reported they've taken more bets in on Jason Kelsey to score the first touchdown for the Eagles over Quez Watkins or Zach Pascal.
See, that's crazy. Now, at that point, just go donate your money to charity.
You think that Nick Sirianni would give him the first goal line touch of the game?
No
What are the
way,
odds on
dude.
that? Plus 10 billion.
It'd have to be like one of those ones where they're up like a ton of points. Like
That's what
Sirianni, like he loves his guys, but that's crazy.
it has to be 31-7 with a minute and a half left.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, so let's dive in here. Super Bowl specials, a ton of stuff as we alluded to. Tyson, I know you got some stuff that kind of popped out to you. Let's get this on screen here. For those watching on YouTube, you can follow along with us. Some cool stuff. You're gonna have your stuff ranging from what many people may consider locks to your little bit more exotic type of plays. Tyson, why don't you take it away and start highlighting anything you like on the board?
Well, I like either Miles Sanders or Isaiah Pacheco to record 100 plus scrimmage yards. I think that one, either starting running back from these two teams. I know Clyde just got activated for the Chiefs. I don't think that matters very much at all. Pacheco's looked better over the last few weeks, and they certainly are going to have to get him involved if Juju Smith-Schuster is not going. And everyone's talking about the Eagles have to run the football and they have to run in the Chiefs passing game. I think the Chiefs need to run the ball too. Like you have to get those guys, if they can just pin their ears back and go after Pat Mahomes all day long, it's probably going to be a rough day at the office. You're going to have to try to run the ball. And if we know anything about Andy Reid, is that he's going to do it, and it might not work after 3 tries, and they'll throw it 60 times in a row. So it makes me a little bit scary or a little bit scared, but that's something that I like.
And that is currently sitting here on FanDuel at plus 200. Either Sanders or Pacheco to go for under 100 yards. Now, one I like plus 100, Pacheco, Patrick Mahomes, McKinnon to combine for 100 plus yards rushing. I think I might take a flyer on that. Now, Mahomes, I think you can take out of that. So it's really Pacheco who's sitting around 50. Then you have to rely on McKinnon. But like you said, I think the Chiefs are going to want to run the ball in this game. Now, it's not in Andy's DNA and it's not in this Chiefs DNA, but like you said, you have to be able to counter that pass rush at some point. That's one I may take a flyer on. That plus 100. I don't know if, that's not necessarily like a lunch money play, just throw a couple bucks at. But that's something that caught my eye. I'll have to do a little bit more digging, but that's something that interests me a bit.
My favorite lunch money play on here is Miles Sanders score the first Eagles touchdown and Travis Kelsey to score the first Chiefs touchdown. I don't know if you were to bet on them both like a first and second as far as what that comes out to normally versus what they put on the board for the Super Bowl. But at plus 1,800, I think if you want to put $5 on something, that might be the one that I pick.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. I actually think this is going to be a big Miles Sanders game for the Eagles. That's just a little spoiler for our upcoming Thursday pod that's going to be coming out, but I think it's a big Miles Sanders game. And Travis Kelce, that's going to be the guy. Matchup nightmare for the Eagles, who don't have very good pass coverage linebackers, and Travis Kelce could eat in the middle of the field, and we all know he likes to find the end zone, and that's how they find them. Now, some of the ones here that are interesting – Boston Scott and Kenneth Gainwell to combine for 40-plus rushing yards. Now, Kenneth Gainwell has been going nuts. It's playoff Kenny time right now. And Boston Scott, we know the Eagles love to get him involved. That's at plus 145 here on FanDuel. I'm interested in that one a bit. Now, my concern is if Miles has it rolling, I don't think we're going to see a lot of the three-headed monster attack that the Eagles have employed throughout the playoffs.
Yeah, all those first four that you could see, or first five, that you can see on your screen right now, those are going to be your, as Brad said, like your safer plays, the stuff that you're probably going to want to stick to. Some of these on this board, like just breaking records at middle of the board numbers is a bit ridiculous to me. The Eagles to rush for 4+ rushing touchdowns. It's because they did it against the Giants. If they didn't do that 2 weeks ago, that wouldn't be on here. Chris Jones, George Karlaftis, and Frank Clark to all record a sack, I think should be a higher number too. There's some of these that are funny. But I do like James Bradbury or Chauncey Gardner-Johnson to record the first interception. Darius Slay has been immune to the football for the last handful of weeks since his giant games that he's had on Sunday Night Football, basically the Vikings game and the Packers game. It's been James Bradbury, and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson led the league in interceptions and missed 6 weeks or whatever it was. I think those two, if Pat Mahomes takes a risk, it's a lot more likely than Jalen Hurts coming out and firing something to L'Jarius Sneed or Willie Gay.
Yeah, and so either one of them can get an interception and this thing hits. So either James Bradbury or Gardner-Johnson to pick the ball off plus 400. I don't think that's a bad bet at all when you look at it that way. And Darius Slay, people just aren't throwing the ball his way either.
That's what.
He's an eraser. So
there's no big plays on his side of the field,
which is nice. You kind of just, it's like Revis Island. You just erase one half of the field. Hey, you got this locked down.
He's been. Nice, I mean, we'll talk about it later this week, but he's been a little bit suspect in the last 3-4 weeks of the season.
And to your point here, so any player to return a punt kickoff return for a TD plus 1,200, that's way too short. I don't think you can dabble on that at that number. I mean, again, we're not trying to be Scrooges here. Like, if you're just like, yeah, I'll just throw like a couple cents on it, that's fine. But I think, again, you can't going in expecting that to be something that cashes. Like, if you're just like, oh, maybe, feel free to do it. We were just trying to give you, like, we don't think there's value in that pick. Like, if it was plus 10,000, all right, yeah, now maybe that's a lunch money play. Like, maybe you throw a couple bucks on it and you're like, oh, we'll see what happens. But at plus 1,200, the likelihood of that to happen is so rare. I think the last time that happened was Devin Hester, right? And I was still living in Billings at the time.
Yeah, we were babies.
A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith to combine for 200+ receiving yards. That's plus 500. So right now they're lined roughly at 130, both of them combined. So you need 70 more yards out of the two of them combined, clearly. If you think that Jalen Hurts' shoulder is fine, and if you think that the Eagles are going to need to throw the football in this game, I think that's a play you look towards. A.J. Brown's been quiet. I do not think he'll be quiet in this game. The Chiefs, yes, they have played well in the secondary, but they're rookies. Spagnuolo loves the blitz. I think that's going to free up a lot of one-on-one opportunities for these playmakers. And all A.J. Brown needs is one missed tackle, and he can go to the house on any given play. And Devontae Smith, he is an elite route runner. He can just eat up the field. And if he's one-on-one with the rookie cornerback, I don't care if it's Sauce Gardner or not, Devontae Smith is going to catch the football. Like, he's
Sauce is getting sauced.
Sauce is getting sauced.
He's a big game guy, dude. Like,
always
his most famous games in college were big games. His most famous moments in the NFL have been in big stages, except for when he went off against the Commanders. That was the early window game. But he's a big-time player, man.
Well, a sprinkle I'm going to have for sure here. Miles Sanders to score the Philadelphia Eagles' first and second touchdown, plus 3,500. I'm going to sprinkle that. I think that's great value. Like I said, I think this is a Miles Sanders game. I expect him to get into the end zone, and if it's 2 in a row, baby, we are cashing.
And I'm off this board, man. Like that's the only ones I like.
Yeah, me too. I mean, because when you look at it, any player to pass for over 6.5 touchdowns to break the Super Bowl record, like that's unheard of. That's plus 6,000. Like, come on, what's the likelihood of that? And you can kind of go through the Super Bowl specials tab here on FanDuel and take a peek at what else we have. And if you're watching us on YouTube, you've been viewing it along with us. Okay, let's get into the scoring props now, Tyson. We don't have a visual for it if you're watching with us, just because there's so much going on. So we're just going to go through this thing as we see fit, discuss the different things and the different options that FanDuel is laying here. Why don't you go ahead and start off? What caught your eye?
Well, this one, for me, the position to score the first Eagles touchdown at plus 190 is running back. Even with receiver, if you know anything about the Philadelphia Eagles, they're going to try to have a long, sustained drive on the first drive of the game, and those typically end up punctuated. Sometimes it's a Jalen Hurts run, but oftentimes it's Miles Sanders, Boston Scott, or Kenny Gainwell finding the end zone. And honestly, if that's what you want to play, then maybe go bet 3 separate ones on Boston Scott, Miles Sanders, or Kenny Gainwell to be the first touchdown scorer of the game, because I think that might end up better value for you.
Sure. I think what's interesting here, so the position to score the first touchdown in the game, running back plus 175, receiver plus 200, tight end plus 310. And if you look at the Chiefs, running back favored, plus 160 to score their first touchdown. Eagles tied with wide receiver at plus 190 to score the first touchdown. I would look to play that at plus 175. It's playoff football. It's Super Bowl football. Even the Chiefs down in the goal line, they've given the ball to Pacheco down there in the red zone. So I like that at plus 175. That's going to be a play for me. Position to score the first touchdown in this game, running back, plus 175.
And kind of piggybacking off of that point, I think shortest touchdown scored, it's juiced to the under right now, under 1.5 yards. Teams don't often chill out on the 1 yard line. Like, both these guys are probably going to find themselves on exactly the 1 yard line, maybe once in this football game. And I think at over 1.5, if I get plus money, I like it. That Eagles are running quarterback sneaks from the 3. Chiefs are running Blake Bell bulldozers from the 2. That's cash.
Belldozers, baby.
Yeah, my apologies.
Any player to score 2+ TDs, yes, is minus 185. Clearly, I said I think Miles Sanders is a possibility there. Travis Kelce, always liable. I think at minus 185, though, that's not a price I'm willing to lay. I would rather try to pick a player like a Sanders, like a Kelce themselves, and see what that comes out to. So that's going to be a pass for me. At any player to score 3+ touchdowns, that's plus 600. That's a little bit more interesting to me because, I mean, fuck, it could be Hurts.
Well, you think Miles is getting 2 already, so if you're going to do that, you might as well.
And let's say it is Kelce. Plus 600, it could be a combination of players for a 6-to-1 shot. That's something I'm interested in. I'm not going to lay it because it's so rare, and I actually don't think this is going to be a high-scoring game. So I'm going to stay away from that one. But that's just kind of the little peek behind the window of how I'm viewing this one.
One that I like in the scoring props tab here, either team to score a touchdown on their opening drive, yes, is plus 118. I'm going to bet the Eagles to score on their opening drive as well. I'll give that out too. I just think Philly, they just go down and score. That's what they do. And on the flip side of that, the Chiefs can start slow, but so can that Eagles defense. The Eagles defense since early in the season, they were getting off the field on third down early a lot. And now teams have kind of been able to pick up 1 or 2 on those opening drives before having to punt. And I think Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid are going to come out with a nice script of plays to try to get them into the end zone. So with the best opening drive offense in the NFL versus the best coach off a bye of all time, I'll take the yes at plus 118.
I like that. I like that a lot. Now, it's going to kind of counterintuitive for you against your pick just now here, but Kansas City Chiefs' first scoring play of the game, I'm taking field goal at plus 172. Patrick Mahomes is great. They kicked a lot of field goals in the red zone last week against the Bengals.
That's true.
I think that could be a possibility here. We know Andy in these big spots gets a little conservative. So if it is a 4th and 3, it's not really in his DNA to go for it. So I think that could be a possibility. And the passing TD is plus 124. That's a look. That seems a little short to me. And rushing TD for the Chiefs' first scoring play of the game is plus 360. I'm gonna roll it here with plus 172.
One that I like here, Philadelphia Eagles first touchdown, rushing touchdown is plus 128. The favorite right now is a passing touchdown at minus 122. Not a whole lot of extra analysis here versus what we've already said. But if you've been listening, that's one that you take it where you can get it, because I think that's your best bet.
I'm intrigued by this one because it's lined interesting to me. Will the Eagles score more points in the first half or second half plus OT? First half is plus 116, second half minus 142. Now, the Eagles are a great first half team. So it goes kind of counterintuitive here that that the second half is favored here. Now, maybe it's because in the first half, you're kind of throwing jabs, feeling each other out. And then in the second half, okay, we're in this game. We're comfortable. Let's figure some things out. Let's make our adjustments. But that caught my eye. What do you think of that?
It's tough. I mean, everything on this board, when you're going through it, it all sounds great in the moment. And then as soon as the game kicks off and we remember guys tighten up when all the cameras flash at kickoff, the real way to make money in the Super Bowl year over year is just to play unders on like 90% of props, and you're going to hit. But this is the time of the week where it's like we're talking ourselves into all these touchdowns and everything. And then on our prediction show later this week, Brad and I are both going to be like, I don't know. It's going to be tough to get points.
Yeah, I know. It's funny how that works too, especially with the total at 51. You're like, God, man, they think it's going to be pretty high scoring here. I got a couple more that I'm interested in here. One I'll give out for sure. Will there be a 2-point conversion attempt? The no is minus 134. The yes is plus 110. I'm going to go no at minus 134.
It just seems safer.
It's just, what's the scenario that you're going for 2 in the Super Bowl? Like in the regular season, I can see it like, well, the analytics say that, if we're up here, we can go for it here, and it's going to push it to, it's like, yeah, but then you kind of leave it, you're leaving a point on the board if you don't. And you have a good kicker in Jake Elliott and Harrison Butker. I mean, he does get a little shaky at times, but he started to find his leg a little bit here. I think it's no. I mean, I don't think Andy's going to do it. I think the question is, will Sirianni do it? But I don't know why they.
That's if the Chiefs jump off sides. If there's a penalty on an extra point attempt, they're going.
Let's see.
I like any team. Will there be an offensive touchdown scored on a 4th down? I like that, which is maybe a little counterintuitive to the argument you just gave, but I think that the Eagles are going to be aggressive, and that's the way they play. And if it's 4th and goal from the 1-yard line, they're lining up and they're sneaking that thing 100 times out of 100. That's just how they play. And on the flip side of that, if we get late in the game and it's a 1-score game, but it's a 6-7 point game, we're in the money. Like we've hit, and I think this is going to be that kind of game where one team might be having to play catch up late in the 4th quarter, which to me initiates money making time.
Yeah, and this is to that point. Here's a prop: team that scores last wins the game. Yes is minus 220, no plus 176. I was thinking like, well, I mean, if you score last, I mean, I'm thinking like kick the field goal to win. Like, yeah, you're going to win the game. Like much more than that. And I was like, oh yeah, but you can have like a backdoor situation where you get in and then the team just runs out the clock, 2 first downs, yada yada. So I was like, oh, that's not as safe as I thought. Here's what's interesting to me too: team that scores first wins the game. Yes is minus 180, no is plus 146. So 2 markets there to consider. A team that scores last minus 220, about 40-cent difference from the first yes and the last. I don't know if you have a thought on that. How do you expect the game script to go regarding those?
Well, damn it! Now I got to do like actual thinking. I mean, could you repeat that? I'm sorry, I was looking at the FanDuel board.
No, yeah. So I mean, team that scores first minus 180.
Yeah, okay. I'm with
first
you.
Win the game. Yeah.
So
it's interesting.
To me, I think that this game that matters less than in most, because I think that the things that the Chiefs do really well on offense are things that the Eagles defense kind of struggles to counter, and the Eagles, as I've said, kind of come out and just score the ball when they get the ball first. So I think we're going to be knotted back up after 0, which leads me into another bet, which is, will the game be tied at any point after the first? Or where did it go? Goodness, there's a million of these, man.
There's so many.
I'll find it. I apologize. But there's a prop. Yeah, there's a prop here that'll be after the game 0-0, will it be tied again? And I think that we're going to see a 7-7 start to this thing, or a 3-3, or however you want to shake it out. That's a prop I want to play. I got lost in this board, man.
Dude, I'm scrolling through it right now. I'm trying to find that. I can't even find that. I like that play though, and that's one my brother actually plays on Sundays on big games, like a Monday night game or a Sunday night game, or even just it's a random afternoon game. Tied 0-0, it actually hits quite a lot more than you think. So what are the odds on that, Tyson?
I can't even find it, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it too.
This is dreadful.
But regardless, I like that. I like that a lot. I'm going to be riding that with you. Any more of these scoring props that catch your eye that you want to discuss that you're playing?
Points scored in the first 6 minutes of the game. That's okay. The last one that you get plus money on. That's plus 118. You can go 3, 5, 6, all the way down to 13 minutes, but 6 minutes is the last one that gives you plus money. Either one of these teams, I think, is capable of scoring within the first 6 minutes. That's the last time you're going to get it at good value. And
it can be a field goal. So
yes.
If you get down there early, get stopped, kick a field goal within the first 6 minutes, that's cashing. So I'm interested in that as well. Okay, let's move over to game props. Now this is a little bit different. You're going to have some conversions, first down stuff, things like that. So let's start here. Team with more time of possession in the game. Eagles minus 144. That is a bet for me. Eagles going to want to run the ball. Chiefs, if they can keep the Eagles on the field by dicing them up in the middle of the field, this could be a play on the Chiefs. But like you said, the Eagles love these long sustained drives, keep the ball on the ground. Jalen Hurts can run it. Miles Sanders can clearly run it as the running back, but they also throw the ball in the middle of the field a lot. High percentage passes, tight end screens, tight end outs, things like that, where I think the Eagles are going to have the ball the majority of the time. And we all know if there's a great quarterback on the other sideline, you don't want them to have the ball very often. So I'm going to take Eagles minus 144 to have the most time of possession in this game.
One that I like is what will happen first, sack versus touchdown scored in this game. They're both sitting at minus 110. I think we get a sack before we get a touchdown. That's my general feeling. If you look at the way that the Chiefs-Bengals went, both quarterbacks there were under duress, and mainly Joe Burrow was getting harassed pretty hardcore to start that game. So look for those Chiefs guys to come out with their hair on fire. And then on the flip side in Philadelphia, that pass rush wants to prove that they're the best, not only in the NFL, but we're the best of the decade. We're the best of the last 20 years. That's what they're trying to show. And although the Chiefs haven't given them much bulletin board material, Brandon Ayuk sure seemed to open his fucking mouth. What is he doing, dude?
Julian Love as well, saying that Sirianni's a bum.
I can't. What did Ayuk say? The Chiefs are going to expose that defense like we thought we were gonna, and it's like the irony of that quote.
Right.
Yeah, your quarterback got hurt, but that's because he got dogged in the first possession of the game, dude.
Yeah, I mean, you can like Brandon Graham said to Julian Love, when you're sitting on the couch, there's plenty of things to think about, and a lot of times they run their mouths. So I don't even pay any attention, but I hope it is bulletin board material for the Eagles. Clearly for us now. Net yards in the game, 739.5 is the number, minus 110 both sides. That seems like a lot of yards. What do you think about that?
It is. Like, I don't know. When I'm looking at these, it's just these are what I was saying earlier. They're the ones in the game props are the ones trying to trick us into being optimistic in the middle of the week, and then we got our bets locked in, and there's no getting out at that point. But that's why, like, you can play unders on these, but to me, you got to stick to things like Philadelphia Eagles successful fourth down conversion, and just play that. It's sitting at minus 280, and it's not fun, and it's not sexy. But if you want to hit 30% of these things, if you want to have the money for your sprinkle plays, you got to hit some no-brainers too.
And I will say the big bettors in Vegas, like who go on and they're talking about the prop that they play every single year, is they bring out their stash of cash. They say, will there be a safety? And it's always minus 500 or somewhere around there. And they bet no. And that's their moneymaker. Because like that, I think the only safety I can remember is when they snapped it over Peyton Manning.
Over Peyton's head.
Yep. Like that's the only one I can remember. Imagine you're like, yes, this baby's a lock. And all of a sudden you see that, you're like, the second play of the game, you're like, fuck.
those are my favorite kind of bets. Like when that dude that bet on the Chargers when they were up 27-0 and put, what was that, like $11
Like put
million?
$1 million to win like 10 grand.
It's like, what's the point? And then like if you have $1 million to just blow on a bet and you're gonna win $8,000 and then get taxed on that $8,000, what was the optimum outcome?
Who knows, dude? You guys don't
Those
think
are-
about that stuff.
That's true. Yeah.
Okay, another one that caught my eye here. First Philadelphia Eagles offensive play. Run minus 122. Now, it feels too good to be true, right? Like, because I could also picture them coming out and just throwing a slant. And I'm like, come on, man. Just run the ball. And I'm going to be pissed early. But minus 122 at that number, I feel like you have to play that.
Yeah, I think so too. And then like there's some on here like what will happen first, punch or score points, punch or score points. If you're like me and you really believe that these teams are going to go down and score, those can be good money makers. But if you think that this is going to be a slow starting game, like just about every other Super Bowl we've ever seen, playing punt that's a no brainer too. Sitting there like minus 100.
Will either team convert a fourth down attempt in their own territory? Yes, plus 120. No, minus 150. We know Sirianni doesn't shy away. I mean, he went for it on his own 30 against the Niners. And this QB sneaks, it's unstoppable. Like, and then the nice thing is now they have a wrinkle out of it because everybody like just gets down as low as they can. They're like, oh, let's pitch it outside and can bust one for 50. Now, I'm because maybe if it's on the 46 of their own of the Chiefs 46 and clearly Eagles will go for on 4th and 1. I think maybe if it's on like their own 45, you get into the punting range. 35, I don't think they're going to do that again in the Super Bowl, but that's something that interests me. And then, like you said, if you're down and you have a fourth down late in the fourth quarter, you're going to have to go for it. That's something I'm interested in. I don't think I'm going to play that right now. I may talk myself into it going forward.
Well, that's a bet that you're what it should say is Eagles to go for it on 4th down in their own territory.
True.
Because that's the bet that you're playing. Andy Reid will punt from the opponent's 35 if it's too windy. Like that's who he is. And so to me, that one is like you're just hoping for a close game. And if you're seeing this perfect and you're in the future, then this is one that you must play. But for the rest of us, it's like, dude, why would you? What's the point? And then you're the guy at the Super Bowl party that's like cheering in the first quarter when the Eagles line up on 4th and 1 from their own 36. And then everyone's looking at you like, what the hell? Who invited this guy?
Yeah, that happens. That happens. Let's see here. What's another one that I saw? Now I'm scrolling through like you were doing. Oh, either team to score on their first offensive play. Now, here's another thing. Yes is plus 3,000. Like, come on. You cannot play that. Like, that's one that you just cannot sprinkle.
They make so much money this week.
Oh, my goodness. So this is what I heard, too. It used to be when when the books just had, like, the side and the total. Like, they clearly had liability, right? And then they started opening up these proposition bets, like, okay, some of the crazier stuff. Now these books, because there's so much shit that they allow the bettors to bet on, they basically don't have any liability on this game at all because there's so much crap coming into their pocket because people are just throwing money at dumb shit that this will never happen. So
I hope so badly that 85% of these props hit somehow. I hope everybody in the game scores 3+ touchdowns.
Let's see. Anything else pop in your? I mean, total first downs number over 40.5. That's minus 134. That's interesting to me. Again, you're going to have to assume that the ball is going to be moved a ton in this game. I don't know if you have a thought on that. Most first downs, Eagles minus 124, Chiefs plus 100.
See, that one to me, I think no matter how the game goes, I think the Eagles just naturally will have more first downs because of the way that they play versus the way the Chiefs are going to kind of try to attack. And everyone is talking about how the Eagles are susceptible to those short, Travis Kelce sitting in 5 yards and the Chiefs doing that 100 times, and they'll play that way. But the Eagles are also susceptible in the deep middle, like not the deep middle, but the level between the linebackers and the safeties. Because if Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is preoccupied, if his eyes are going somewhere else, Travis Kelce can slip through those areas. I think the Chiefs hit more 13-yard plays than the Eagles. And so when Philly's going for 5 yards a pop, they're going to have more first downs throughout the game.
Okay, let's see. Anything else catching your eye here on this game props tab, or anything else you want to discuss?
No, I'm sick now.
It's a lot of scrolling, man. It's a lot of looking through. There's just so much stuff. Like we were talking about it before here too. Like there's tabs that you click on. You're like, what even is this?
Well, and then we didn't even get into some of the crazy ones as far as like color Gatorade. What are you going with this year?
I don't have that on mine. Can you read out? You got the odds there for you?
Yeah, we got yellow, green, and lime at plus 114, orange plus 250, blue 370, red and pink 420, clear/water/purple at plus 730.
Jeez. So the
I
other
feel
one,
like it's always orange. I feel like it's
Yeah, I
always
know.
orange.
It feels that way, doesn't it? We'll have to
And then
look and
another
see.
one.
We'll have to look
Oh.
and see what the Chiefs did when they won and what the Eagles had when they won.
That's true. Or what they both did last week. It'll probably be the exact same Gatorade. And then for the national anthem, I don't have that one in front of me, but Chris Stapleton's going to be there to drink some beer and watch the game. He's singing that thing and he's getting out of there, man. Like
You think so? Under?
I think it'll be quick. The last 4 lines of the song will take maybe longer than normal, but I think he's getting through that thing.
Wow. Okay. How about that? And then, is there a first song from Rihanna props up yet by chance for halftime show?
No, I don't have it. But what are you thinking?
I don't know. Like I used to know a lot more of Rihanna songs, but I don't really know her new stuff. So I'm thinking my personal thing, it's going to be an old school song, right? Like she once, she's like, we're the demographic now for halftimes, which is crazy to think
That's
about.
true.
It used to be like, who when we were growing up, it was like Rolling Stones, Tom Petty, and we're like, oh yeah, this is pretty good.
Bruce Springsteen, that was cool.
Yeah,
That was awesome.
And then recently, it's been like the
last Eminem, 50 Cent, Dr. Dre, and Snoop.
This is so sick, dude. Like we wanted that when we were kids. We're like, oh my god, we're old, dude. Like we're the target demographic now.
I know. It better be what's that song? 4 or 5 seconds. That's the one I want.
Ooh, I was thinking Disturbia, maybe Umbrella. I don't know.
Yeah, there's no way Eminem comes out twice in a row, huh?
Maybe Jay-Z, Run This Town.
I mean, we sound so old too to the people listening. We're naming like Umbrella and stuff that probably hasn't hit the radio in 10 years.
Yeah, I know. It's like we can listen to our MP3 players.
But like those will be in our chalkboard, and those are things that we'll put in the chalkboard app. It's on the App Store and Google Play, wherever you get your apps. The group name is the Roundtable, and it's just Brad and I giving out picks. And I think you've given out. Have you hit 500 for college basketball picks this year?
I'm close.
500 picks given out
this week. This week, I'll have 500 picks given out.
And so when you are thinking, who should I listen to when it comes to March Madness? Well, nobody's done the groundwork or the legwork like Brad has. So that's why you want to be in our chalkboard. And we have NBA, all that good stuff, and maybe we'll be talking some Mavericks futures tickets.
Yeah, absolutely. And go check out the last episode we did where we did preview the Western Conference Finals, Eastern Conference Finals, NBA Finals, different future bets there, as well as getting you ready for March Madness with our NCAA futures also. But in the meantime, stay connected with us on our Instagram page @_the roundtable pod _ our TikTok handle is the same, or send us a tweet over at TRT _ pod. Like, subscribe, and share the show. Send it to a friend. Send it to someone you don't like. We'll be back giving out our picks, giving out our prop picks as well. That's going to be coming out Thursday. Until then, guys, peace.